Concerning, if you look at how strong we hold this particular norm of ours, do you think that the possibility of two men or two women coming up to be married in the first place could have a reason?
Now, let me tell you, some people wouldn't even know that there's issue of gay in Nigeria until perhaps we saw one or two people on the floor of the National Assembly. You saw how obnoxious some people looked at those who said they were being deprived. Some people were wondering, is this possible? But I tell you the truth, many people in the streets of Lagos, not to talk of many other areas in this country, are wearing pampers. We are talking of mature men on account of the abuse of their anal or rectal parts of their body. These are not areas, they are parts of the human orifices, okay? We know that erotic zones, the mouth, the genital organs, the anal, and all that, people have used them. Once there is an orifice, people think it's a possible area. They have explored it. But it amounts to an abuse. And you now find that even the younger ones that are in school, some people give them sweets and they don't know what is happening. They use them. Okay? Now, why did this thing happen? Some of them are running away from the reality. Some started from the fear that I don't want to pregnant anybody. Okay? Or that they say that maybe relationship with male and female is fraught with certain venereal diseases. It starts from that way until it now acquires an energy of its own. Now you do it for its own sake. Just like the multi-billionaire who looks for money for its own sake is no longer for the exchange value. Okay? That is the same thing you find. Now, you find that these people, when they grow to adult level, they begin to abuse children. Many parents think that some men who are very fond of their children love children. It is not true. And these children may not be able to say anything.
Well,
and they habituate them.
We have to differentiate it, because if you listen to the argument of those who came to the Senate, they said consensual sex between two adults should not be criminalized.
That means that it is even worse if it is otherwise. That consensual sex should not be criminalized. Is that what you say?
Yeah. Between two consenting adults, relationship between two.
Is that what the law is saying?
Should not be criminalized.
Same sex.
Is that what the law is saying? The law is to prohibit same-sex marriage, isn't it?
Yes.
Now, the process that leads to same-sex, if they say you should not build a duplex, anybody who has done a design and started putting that intention by putting blocks is in the process of doing what? Building a duplex. So it is not encouraged.
Was this law necessary? That's the question. Because
the law is very necessary.
If it doesn't prohibit,
it is very necessary and it is timely. Because I said, this argument, even from the religious point of view, we are all Christians or Muslims or African traditional believers. As a Christian, Genesis 1:27-28, God created man and a woman, and he blessed them and asked them to be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth and dominate all that have been created.
How does this religious argument fit into,
So if you take it from the religious angle and extrapolate it to the biological angle, how does the human race perpetuate itself if you begin to encourage same-sex marriage? Because it leads to nowhere except perhaps the ephemeral feeling of ecstasy, which leads to perdition, because most of the time even criminality results from such things, because a perverted conduct will always feed from a perverted behavior.
Yeah.
I said it's a learned behavior. From the psychological standpoint, learning is a process. It took them time. Learning is a process by which people acquire certain behaviors, habituate them, at a stage, these habits acquire their own lives. That's why some people, when they start smoking, they can't stop unless they are brought in a clinical setting. So this law is important, it is timely, and I believe the National Assembly should go the whole hog, and the president must sign it if he wants to protect the society.
You know, all of this talk about this same-sex marriage debate, are we getting anywhere with it? Because Mark was actually asking the timeliness, which you say it is very, very apt. But again, looking at it critically, what lies ahead, knowing full well that the international community, specifically the Prime Minister of Britain, has said they will cut aid to any country that prohibits same-sex union?
Well, that is neither here nor there. The jurisdiction in which he can speak for is Britain. We are an independent country now, and nobody should dictate to us what domestic laws we make, except where they violate fundamental human rights of people, to liberty, and all the other inherent liberties that that human beings have as human beings. The rights of citizens are determined by their domestic laws.
Now, some people were saying that, you know, maybe this was hurriedly passed to actually show that we are now an independent
Well, I'm
nation
not so much
and
about
no
to
country.
comment on whether it was hurriedly passed or not. If suddenly they now learn how to pass laws quickly, it will rub off positively on other processes.
Is that what you hope to see?
That's what I think.
Mr. Nnaji, we have a tweet here.
Yes.
And this man is asking a question. Damilola Simeone says, then those who have extramarital affairs should be criminalized.
It doesn't, they are not the same. In as much as anybody knows that it is not good to have extramarital affairs because of the sensitivity of the other party. Even if the other party is unfaithful, it is suicidal for you as an individual to engage in things because others are doing it. Okay? So, but they are completely different things.
But don't they all, I mean, the argument is about erosion of values and societal norms.
There is a law already about infidelity, the divorce law. You know, the law, once you are involved in the marriage as recognized by the Act, even under the traditional setting, if you are involved in extramarital affair, it is not encouraged. You can go and bring additional wife. That's why those people who indulge in it, they do crayfish movements. You know, in this village setting, they say somebody's movement was not straight. That is to show you that the culture does not support it. But the culture might support you if you decide to go and marry additional wife. Okay? If you are not so satisfied. And for many reasons, people do that. But marriage under the Act, you are not, in fact, is one of the grounds for divorce.
And even fornication as well.
They are all the same thing. Extramarital could be with a single while you are married, or a married to married. And you know the consequences are usually very... And of course, many of the people now, many young girls are looking for those who they want to victimize, quote unquote. So married men should also be very careful because it's a danger to their marriage. And the personal, because many people have been brought down on account of sex. You look at what is happening the world over. It is not just now, it has been there before. Many religious wars and wars between nations and have been fought on account of sex.
Well, I think that's a good place for us to leave it. Everyone has been so busy on that Twitter page, for and against, loads and loads of comments. Perhaps just before you leave, maybe you just take this out. Yes. It says that this gentleman, referring to you, is breaking it all down. This is coming in from someone who goes by the Twitter name, My Lagos Life. So you're breaking it all down. Why some are already saying, well, you just hit the bullseye. Well,
learning is a relatively permanent change in behavioral tendencies brought about by reinforced practice. If you allow this marriage to start taking place, you'll be reinforcing the practice of homosexuality. Before you know it, the entire society will be sodomized.
Well, do you think anybody would have come up to actually get married in a society like ours?
That is your own thinking. Do you know how many people that are wearing pads? Men! are wearing parts in this Lagos and in many places.
It's not going to,
would you know
Mr.
until they go to wed with their partners?
Mr. Nnaji, the law is not going to stop men or whoever from wearing pads, is it?
Those who are already caught in the web, either
to,
as victims or practitioners, will know that this thing is not socially sanctioned.
Well, I think,
and that is the essence of the law.
Okay.
Well, I think...
if an armed robber, you don't throw the gun in my face before the law. You can do that when you meet me in my private place and ask me to kneel down. Well, but not when the police and every other person is around.
I think that's the place to anchor it, Mr. Nnaji. By the way, someone has just sent a tweet saying that he enjoys it, that we should bring you on the fuel subsidy debate. So
I have actually not made comment because I'm just looking at the whole thing. Unfortunately,
there's a tweet that
yes, because we need to understand what this thing called subsidy, and the whole argument is just like a cracked record. They have been playing this cracked record for a long time.